Hello and welcome to the New Dream webinar, Waste Prevention, the Future of Holidays. My name is Shara Drew and I'm the Program Director here at New Dream. I'm thrilled to be joined today by Isaiah Johnson and Kelly Dennings. Isaiah Johnson is a New Dream Youth Fellow joining us today from Oakland, California. Isaiah is a game developer who's passionate about creating more diversity in the video game industry and about positive social impact. He's especially interested in supporting youth of color as they learn more about technology and professional development, as well as creating gaming experiences that promote empathy and environmental sustainability. In his role as Youth Fellow, Isaiah helps New Dream serve his and future generations in service to our mission of improving well-being for people and the planet. And Kelly Dennings. Kelly is a New Dream Advisory Council member. A results-driven change agent with over 20 years of project management and leadership experience, Kelly currently works for Action Research, a community-based social marketing agency where she enjoys diving into projects that focus on health and environmental topics. Kelly is also the founding president of the Social Marketing Association of North America. In 2018, Kelly earned a Master of Public Health from the University of Southern Florida. For her thesis, she worked with New Dream on ways to use social marketing and other behavior change strategies to decrease the consumption habits of a target U.S. audience. We're excited for her to share about some of that work today. And a little bit about New Dream. Our mission is to empower individuals, communities and organizations to transform their consumption habits and improve well-being for people and the planet. New Dream's overall goal is to change behavior, attitudes, and social norms to reduce consumption and build community. We are reimagining the American dream with a focus on what really matters, creating a meaningful life, contributing to community and society, valuing nature, and spending time with family and friends. And sorry for the slides racing ahead a little bit. With that, I'm going to hand it over to you, Kelly.
Thank you. Well, in developing countries and some parts of the United States, an intersection between health and the environment might be waste disposal and vector-borne illnesses. But in the majority of the United States, we have good garbage collection. So my master's thesis project to tie consumption to public health went a different route. Environmental degradation can have mental health impact. The document Principles of Ethical Practice of Public Health describes how consumption affects our environment and our environment affects our health and well-being. So this is the work that I did with New Dream for my master's thesis starting about a year and a half ago. Next slide. New Dream has a very popular winter campaign called Simplify the Holidays because more waste is generated during this time. And one goal is to shift material gift giving to experiential gift giving. This is what I helped with as part of my thesis. However, there are other alternative gifts like handmade gifts, consumables like food or wine, or reused thrift gifts. So research shows that making over $75,000 does not increase one's happiness after your physiological needs are met, like food, shelter, and clothing. Really, the way to life satisfaction is not through material things, but rather happiness comes from relationships and time spent in nature. Next slide. The goal of my project was to motivate individuals to shift some purchases from material gifts to experiential gifts during the winter holidays, thus increasing time spent with friends and family and in the out of doors, leading to a boost in long-term happiness and overall well-being, along with supporting the environment by decreasing consumption. Next slide. The 5 behavior change project steps that I'm following come from a book titled Fostering Sustainable Behavior by Doug Mackenzie Moore. So putting my thesis project into this framework, you can see here that the behavior that we were seeking was, again, to give an experiential gift. We did some barrier and benefit research, which I'm going to talk about in a minute. Then you're going to identify some strategies that help overcome those barriers and benefits. And in this project, we used commitment, norms, and heuristics. And then generally what you do is you pilot your social and behavior change campaign And our pilot included a pledge. So folks, pledged to say that they were going to give one experiential gift versus a material gift during the 2017 holidays. And they received some weekly emails from us prior to the holidays, helping them overcome some of the barriers that we heard in giving an experiential gift. And then, of course, it's always so important to evaluate, and we did that through a follow-up survey. Next slide. The Barrier and Benefit Survey included 189 participants from North Carolina, so we had a pretty good variation in demographics. And to get that variation, we actually worked with the City of Raleigh's North Carolina Recycling Office, who donated some funding that allowed us to purchase a randomized survey panel. So thank you to the City of Raleigh. In addition to running the statistics on some of the demographic questions, I also created a couple of indexes based on a series of questions asked within the survey. So I was able to segment folks by those various responses, and we'll talk about those in a minute also. Next slide. So just what types of waste reduction activities do people say that they're already doing? Well, you can see from this slide that generally, often, or almost always, people say they carry a refillable water bottle or mug. But you can see here at the bottom of the list that sometimes people are borrowing or leasing goods. So this really helps us figure out how we can better frame the work we do and things that we focus on. Next slide. On the screen, you can see the top 3 and bottom 3 activities where the respondents responded to the survey, and there were 19 activities to choose from. So this was something that they at least did once a year with friends or family. And you'll notice here, hiking, biking, camping, and fishing and other outdoor activities are unfortunately not at the top, but fortunately they're also not at the bottom. All right, next slide. So we did some focus groups prior to doing the survey, and we really thought there was going to be a larger difference between giving gifts to friends and giving gifts to family. And there really wasn't that much of a difference, except the thing that you see here in green. So the top benefit of giving an experiential gift to friends was that it would be unique or different. But for family, it was more that it would provide lasting memories. And the common barrier across both groups was that it's just very hard to schedule experiential gifts. Okay, next slide. From this slide, you can kind of see that family really outperformed friends consistently, but it wasn't in a statistically significant way. So according to this, respondents didn't really plan to give an experiential gift over the holidays, but did feel that they would be supported in giving an experiential gift. Next slide. So now on to the segmentation differences. So we were interested in what millennials think, the great group that everybody is trying to reach. So for millennials, we really saw here that they were willing to create an online wish list, similar to the one that New Dream has called So Kind. We also heard that they would be happier if they could buy more things, which was a little bit of a surprising, but I might want to say that maybe they're not even meeting some of their physiological needs if they're still paying off school loans or having trouble finding and affording rent, things like that. They're also less likely to say that they would carry a reusable bag. For income, this was not surprising here, but those with less income were less likely to travel, and those with more income were more likely to give an experiential gift. They also said that they are less likely to wear thrift store clothes or use cloth towels. Next slide. So as a reminder, 77% of respondents were non-Hispanic white. So these statistically significant results are for the other 23% of respondents in aggregate. So non-whites are less likely to eat out, less likely to carry a refillable bottle or mug, and more likely to use cloth towels versus paper towels. They also differed in their belief of the top benefit, where for giving an experiential gift to a friend, they believed it would provide lasting memories, whereas non-Hispanic whites felt the top benefit was that it would be unique. And they also thought that the top challenge to giving an experiential gift to a family member would be that it was hard to think of an appropriate gift. So those are some interesting differences. Next slide. For the 3 indexes I created, there were some statistical differences. So those that said that they were more happy, so they had a high happiness rank, also said that they had a less need for material things. So this does follow the national and global research that's been shown in other places. What's interesting about this is, it's a kind of a chicken and the egg. Are they happy so they don't really have a need for less, so they have less of a need for material things, or do they have less material things so they're happier? Not really sure which comes first. The interesting thing about outdoor activities, the thinking was that, maybe people that do outdoor activities and, would give more experiential gifts. We didn't really find that. It was really more the inverse. So those people that don't do outdoor activities are less likely to do anything, like eat out, go to the movies, So I just think that whether it was an outdoor activity or not, they just don't do activities, period. And then the last one here was somebody that was green-minded. So 61% of those folks were different, meaning that they were more likely to kind of give an experiential gift and things like that. But, this isn't at 99%. So there's still definitely room to work with people that are green-minded, but yet not doing all the activities that we seek. Next slide. So again, going back to the different behavior change steps, you can see here that we talked about the behavior. We just went over the barriers and benefits. I'm just going to quickly go over the strategy that we did, and then I'll move to the follow-up survey. Next slide. So what we did was we asked somebody to pledge, and this is an example of our pledge here. It's very time-bound, and it was very specific in our request. Next slide. So one of the intervention tools when they pledged and then received some emails from us was we walked them through and showed them the So Kind gift registry that you could do for the holidays. And this is an example of it here. Next slide. It's really a fully customizable site that allows you to request gifts that are meaningful to you. And you can see here that, you could have shared a skill, or if it was an experience, you could specifically pick that. And it has a calendar function, so you could help try to schedule when you wanted to do your experiential gift. Next slide. So as I mentioned, we did an evaluation after the pledge and the 3 emails. And there were 241 pledge takers all across the country. Those are who are in blue. And the 69 post-pledge takers are actually, represented in blue here. And there were 23 states represented. And this one gave us a 29% response rate. So I was pretty happy with that response rate. Next slide. So the most common gift given was a gift card for an experience. So that's pretty exciting. I know the chart here shows just gift cards, but it did have to specifically be, the survey question was, it wasn't a gift card for clothes or electronics. It was a gift card for experiences. So that's exciting. Next slide. So we also asked people, how they followed through on the pledge. So 83% actually took the pledge and gave an experiential gift. 59% of gifts were given to family. And 42% of experiential gifts were done within 2 weeks of giving. So I think it's just really important to follow up as quickly as you can in giving an experiential gift. Next slide. According to post-pledge takers, 33% increased their satisfaction with life after the holidays, but 28% had their satisfaction with life go down after the holidays. 64% said they were somewhat satisfied to very satisfied with life after holidays, and thankfully this was up from 58% before the holidays for this same group of people. So I don't have, the takeaway for me from this is that the holidays are just a stressful time period. So for some people after the holidays you're feeling better, and for some people after the holidays you're feeling worse. And it's, not that we can necessarily say that giving an experiential gift was the cause or effect of either one of those things, but it is just an interesting time of the year in general for folks, and especially when it comes to mental health. So that's essentially a quick wrap-up of my thesis results, and I think we're going to move on to a little bit of a discussion.
Well, thanks so much, Kelly, for that presentation. I had the great pleasure of working with you a little bit last year as you designed and implemented this project. So it's so exciting to hear you present the results and to be able to share it with the New Dream audience too. So now I'm going to invite. Thank you. I'm going to invite Isaiah Johnson back, who's been here listening, to join us. Hi, Isaiah.
Oh, thank you again for the presentation and the invitation.
Excellent. And I know Kelly and Isaiah, I know that you have some questions lined up for each other. So now I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to you, Isaiah.
No problem. So what is an experiential gift, and what are some examples of some good experiential gifts?
Well, good question. So really there's kind of like three main categories that we were promoting. One was going places with friends or family, which could be like a winery or a museum, concert, sporting event, or getting out in nature by going camping, picnicking, skiing, boating, or traveling to a nearby town. Or it could be doing a class of some sort, and that could be either a class that you kind of like teach a friend, like teach them how to cook something, or you know, maybe you go to the rec center and you take a painting class or a wildflower identification class or something like that. So these would differ from other alternative gifts like consumables, like food or wine, or maybe something handmade, or like donating to a charity. So yeah, so that's some examples of experiential gifts. What about you? Have you ever given an experiential gift?
Yeah, between myself and my friends, I'm always the first person to say, let's go hiking or treat them to sushi. But an experiential gift I'm most proud of, see, my friend's little sister is very passionate about art, so I bought an entire drawing tablet just for us to do art whenever I come over. And it's nice because her art skills are improving. She loves to draw, so it's nice to kind of empower her future in that sort of way.
Oh, so yeah, are you teaching her along with it?
Yes.
Oh, that's cool. Awesome.
But yeah, so yeah, that being said, because, you know, drawing tablets and sushi can be expensive, but hiking's pretty inexpensive. How much money can one spend on an experiential gift? Like, I know, like, what are some cheap alternatives and some more expensive alternatives?
Yeah, so, you know, in my research, it was kind of commonly thought that an experiential gift really needed to be like a big trip, you know, to Disney or something like that. And that really is not what, you know, New Dream is all about. We do love those ideas of like, you know, just getting together and doing a special hike to a place that's maybe important to your family, or just spending time, you know, as you said, with your friend, teaching them how to draw, or, you know, cooking communal meals are just so important. So we would actually like to see more people think outside the box for those inexpensive gifts that aren't necessarily, you know, that cost money, but, you know, maybe it usually includes a little bit more of your time to either put some thought into something that maybe doesn't cost a lot of money. But it was interesting, when we did a focus group with millennials, they often said that they spend more money on gifts for their friends than family. They really do see their time as being valuable and part of the gift that they give to family, you know. So that was kind of interesting, I think. But yeah, we would love to see more people just kind of think of it that way.
Definitely.
That it doesn't have to be expensive. Yeah. So what's the type of experience that you would want to receive? You know, we've got the holidays coming up. If people are listening, maybe you can give them a little tip.
Well, that's a fair one. For myself, you know, I'm in a stage in my life where I'm trying to do a lot of growth and development. You know, by trade, I'm a programmer and a producer, so, you know, I create video games, and it's my job to lead the team and make sure things happen. That being said, I've been looking for more trainings in leadership and programming and whatnot. So one gift I would like is maybe, you know, like tickets to some leadership training camp, or books on leadership. Good books on leadership, because it's not enough to give someone a book. It has to be like a book that thoroughly suits their interests. I just learned this from a Ben and Jerry's book because I read, but this book is the first book I've read in a while that's actually exciting. But that being said, my cousin and a few friends of mine are getting into stocks because they're very interested in the stock market and stocks, and it seems to be a really nice market, so I'm interested to get in as well. So maybe training or webinars or books on stocks would be great as well.
Interesting. Oh, that's very forward thinking of you.
Thank you. So what are some challenges and benefits of experiential gift giving?
Yeah, so when we did some focus groups, we did about 4 focus groups, it looks like there was going to be a larger difference between the barriers and benefits to giving gifts to friends versus giving gifts to family. But when we did the survey, there wasn't that many differences all around. But the largest barrier to giving an experiential gift, of course, is scheduling, right? So if somebody were to give you a gift of a, training that maybe you have to actually go somewhere and, they don't know your calendar, it makes it, the idea of giving an experiential gift difficult just in relationship to scheduling,
Oh,
especially
I completely understand.
yeah, especially if people aren't in the same town, So that's a tough one. But what we were looking at doing and what we promoted with New Dream was they have an alternative gift registry or a wish list, and there is a calendar function within that. So if you request a training, you could actually put the particular training and the date that you're available, and then people could go there and say, oh, well, I know he's already available, he's holding that date, or what have you, to help with that barrier of scheduling.
That's good. Yeah, in my experience,
Yeah.
I definitely agree. It's kind of like when you're trying to, from a management and a personal experience, because, I'm always the first person to say, let's do this with my friends. And one of my biggest challenges, aside from planning, because they weren't really interested in the plan portion, they just wanted to do it, but they didn't want to do the structural part to actually get there. Like, let's save some money for the trip. No, just let us know when it happens. It's like, that's not how it works. And then that being said, there's a lot of people who flake, who just decide out of the blue that they don't want to go anymore, especially at the last minute. So honestly, just interacting with people can be a challenge when it comes to that.
It's true. But it's funny because really that says to me then that the main gift that you give people, Isaiah, is the gift of time and your skills in coordinating things, right? Like
right.
that in itself shows love and friendship when you take the time to do that. But it was the other thing about that then, when the barrier is scheduling, what I heard in the focus group with millennials was they said, well, then that takes all the spontaneity out of it, So one young person told me that she just told her boyfriend, well, hold this date, so he didn't schedule anything on that day, but he didn't exactly know what he was getting either. So she kind of had a workaround around it that way. But it's tough.
Definitely.
Yeah. But I think a lot of the benefits that people thought to an experiential gift was that they're very unique, right? It's not like another tie or a pair of socks or so you really have the opportunity to be creative and give, something that will provide lasting memories. And, so those are the benefits that a lot of people mentioned.
Right.
So you kind of already talked about this a little bit by helping teach somebody how to draw. But, we do want to really promote these ideas of low-cost experiential gifts. And one of them is this idea of, sharing a skill. So is there any other kind of thoughts or ideas around skills, something that, another skill you say you have that you could share with somebody or that you'd like to have?
Ooh, that's an interesting one. Give me a second. Yeah, I definitely say some of my easiest skills to translate are programming and art skills because, I've been focusing on that so much lately that it's like, what else can I do? But in reality, it's a lot. Um,
Right.
oh, networking. There we go. Because, I love to go to events. I love going places with friends. So naturally, I would love to bring my friends and their people to events, depending on the event. Because if it's super professional, you probably don't want your friends around. But it's nice to be able to bring people to conferences and whatnot, especially in my team, in order to do some networking and they put them in an environment where they could get some networking practice in, maybe make some good connections of their own. In fact, I just came back from a conference called the XR Developers Conference. XR is basically augmented reality and virtual reality combined. So it was nice because this was the first time we were at a conference and I had more than one of my team members there. So I would network with someone and they would say, "Oh, I was just talking to one of your partners." That was beautiful.
That's awesome. That is definitely an acquired skill. So, I think taking somebody under your wing to show them how to network or help them is definitely a great skill that you could give as a gift. So, awesome.
Hey, thank you. But so yeah, what are some good places people can go if they wanted to learn more about an experiential gift or giving an experiential gift?
Yeah, well, New Dream has an awesome campaign called Simplify the Holidays, and we really did focus on this last year. We built out a lot of resources about experiential gifts. So, but in general, they have a lot of things about alternative gifts, a more fun, less stuff catalog. They have little coupon books that you can use that are, templates for giving a back rub, or free cooking lesson, those kinds of things. And then if you want to just kind of get fun and creative this winter with your friends and, in a casual way explain to people that you're looking for an experiential gift and not necessarily a material gift, we created some fun little social media memes that you could put on Facebook. And then really this big thing that I mentioned about the calendar function is they have the So Kind alternative gift registry or wish list. And it really does allow you to let people know in a very, passive way the kinds of things that you're looking for during the holidays, whether it be an experiential gift or, a handmade gift or anything like that. And last year they created a sister kind of site to it where it's called the Give List. And so you can also post on there the kinds of things that you have, the skills that you have, or the things that you want to do for your friends and family, and they can kind of pick from them and say, oh yeah, I need an hour of dog sitting, or, I want to learn how to cook, or, teach me how to crochet or something like that. So those are kind of the big things, but, people can just go to newdream.org and see all of the different material that they have under the Simplify the Holidays campaign. That's probably the best place to direct people.
Not bad. Yeah, I definitely say, that being said, I definitely recommend meetup.com just because most people have a pretty good idea of their interests. So going on meetup.com is super easy because you can go and find groups who share the same interests as yours. Like if you like hiking, there are groups out there who hike every, Saturday or once a month. And you could go out there, hike with people, make some connections, and just a group of, what would you call it, a social network?
Yeah. That's a great idea. I love meetups. I have like a roller skating meetup and a hiking meetup.
For me, I usually do their business meetups, but there are a few game developer meetups, so those are nice.
Oh, you need to have some fun meetups in there. Oh, well, this has been great, Isaiah. Thank you so much for talking with us and giving us your perspective around experiential gifts. And I think we'll turn it back over to Shara to close us out. So thank you.
No problem. Thank you.
This concludes our webinar today. Thank you, Kelly and Isaiah, for sharing your time, expertise, and ideas as we consider strategies for reducing waste around the holidays. Listeners, thank you for joining us, and please be sure to visit newdream.org and our Simplify the Holidays campaign for lots more resources to help you improve well-being for people in the planet during the holidays and all year.